Radio Zero.
Oh, hello. Oh, very loud. Could the audience hear me?
No.
It's Radio Zero with Rick and Rose.
Sorry.
Friday, October 21st, 2010, 21, 22. Yeah.
Where are my notes? You can subscribe to the podcast on any of your podcast delivery platforms, Apple, Spotify, Google,
MySpace,
MySpace.
Netscape.
I don't know. I actually don't know
Duplicate.
if MySpace has it. You can go to radiozero.us. There's an RSS feed there.
And you can go to My Ratto is Fatto. No, this Ratto is Fatto and not CS.
We're live streaming on Facebook on the Radio Zero page and Poster Children page, on Twitch at PCJCUSA, and on the Poster Children YouTube channel. The last couple of weeks, we've been streaming around 4 p.m. Central on every other Friday. We'll see. Of course, when I say that, the next time will be at some other cockamamie time. You can patronize us at patreon.com/Radio Zero. Thank you to everyone who is currently patronizing us. And that's
boobs.
it. What?
Hit the boobs.
Hit the boobs. Okay, that's... Which sound is that?
You only have two.
I know, and
I
I'm
only
trying to
have
decide
two.
which
I only
button.
have 1.5.
Nope.
Oh, it could be that. Due to taking these fucking pills every day and making my body feel like shit, making my hair fall out, making me fatter, and just making me like stupid.
Wait.
I
so
don't have breast cancer this year.
So some of that is... But
Just-
you've also got
I'm just-
thyroid stuff, right? That
that
causes
that
hair
doesn't
loss.
do it.
And
No. Well, yeah,
Well,
I guess
yeah,
it does.
totally
yeah,
does.
but that's
Same
I've
thing.
been having that all my whole life. This is-
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
oh, yeah, but this is more hair loss.
Okay.
And uterine cancer, but I don't have breast cancer this week. Yay.
But you don't have uterine cancer either.
We don't know about that.
Okay.
But that's okay. Yeah, that's there's no. She's like, well, you're gonna be laying on it. If you want to be laying on a table, we can figure it out. But otherwise, I'll just yank it in the summer. I love Dr. Troopin. Not a sponsor,
But you didn't. You just said a bunch of random stuff. But
yeah,
you had,
yeah. I had my year out mammogram, whatever. So my cancerversary is November 11th. That's my cancerversary, and I love how I know you think it sucks to commemorate that, but I think
no, but
for me it's like
are
the
you
best
sure
thing ever.
That's the right date.
That was the date that I found out
our
because it was
son's birthday.
Yeah,
Okay.
I found out on our son's birthday. I believe I'll have to because okay, not to complain about this again, but like I got the mammogram. And it said dense breast tissue again. Oh, okay, great. So, and I always get that. And then they're like, you have to come back, make another appointment. So then you got to go through the making the appointment thing. And you can't do it online where we live. You have to call them and you have to be on hold and blah, blah, blah. Those were the days. But then I got the, they're like, yeah, we'll let you know. Your doctor will call you and let you know. I'm like, okay. And then, like a couple of days later, you get a letter in the mail saying that your breasts are normal. But anyway, this time the doctor called and said, yeah, I can't tell you the results I can't tell you, you have to make an appointment. Come on in. It wasn't the doctor that called. It was the nurse. Yeah, Dr. I can't remember her name, not Dr. Troopin, wants to see you to give you the results. And I was like, what? And she's like, yeah, she wants to see you. And I was like, what do you mean? She said, yeah, you just have to make an appointment. And I was like, well, do I have cancer? And she was like, oh, I can't tell you. Just make an appointment. I was like, I was already crying. And I was like, well, when is the doctor free? Is she there tomorrow? And she's like, yeah, she's there tomorrow. What time would you like? I'm like, well, how early does she get in? She's like, well, she's got a 7:00. And I'm like, okay, I'll be there at 7:00. So then I don't remember, I cried all night or I was upset. No, I looked up every form of breast cancer all night. That's what I did on the internet. So by the next day I came in and she's like, Rose, I'm sorry, but you have cancer. And I was like, meh. But then she was like, this is the kind of cancer you have. And I already, I had it all memorized, every kind of breast cancer there was. Am I boring you?
No.
Okay. But anyway, yeah, so that's how that day went. So I was thinking about all this, about how, there's this first, there's the crying, the stages of the stages of your mind when you get told that you have cancer, or at least my mind. I was thinking about this. And there was the crying and stuff. And then there was for a long time, there was what did I do? I didn't smoke. I didn't have any chemical, we use vinegar to clean stuff in the house. I didn't even allow us to have a microwave for a long time. Right. So there was what did I do? And then the doctors have talking points about how you don't know what you did wrong. It was 10 years ago that it happened and stuff like that. So yeah, where was I going with all this? It's, I think I must have had, because it was during the pandemic, right? And I was and Jody or somebody posted, hey, it's breast cancer awareness month. Get your mammogram. And I was like, even though it's during COVID, I guess I'll get it. And I felt like I had put it off for a while, but apparently I didn't. And I went right in there and I got it. And yeah, then they had the recall. So that must be why it took till November to find out. So anyway,
but that was 2 years ago. So
2 years ago.
What I was asking is why the you have an update.
Yeah, the update is that I just had my yearly mammogram and it looks normal now.
Yeah, so it's 2 years.
Yeah. And I had to go, and so when you have breast cancer and you're being treated and stuff like that, you when you go for mammograms, at least here, they make you sit in the room and wait. You don't have to go home and wait for 2 days to get the fucking letter. You sit there and they have somebody actually read your mammogram right there. And then they come back and they tell you, hey, you have to go get this needle thing. So I went to a different place because the insurance told me, I'm getting these postcards from the insurance company going, hey, go to this other place because it's cheaper. For me, it's not cheaper. I'm going to pay the same thing because good insurance. But the insurance company really wanted me to go to this other place. So I did. And this place, I was like, so I'm going to get to sit here and you're going to read it and I'm going to come back and you're going to come back and tell me, right? And they're like, no, you can go home. You don't have to wait here. And I was like, can I? How long is it going to be? For how long do I have to wait? Can you read it? Well, if you want us to, we can read it, today. And I was like, yeah, that'd be cool. For this reason, I scheduled the mammogram on a Monday at 7 a.m. just so, in case the doctor wasn't in on Monday, maybe they'll be on, it's not a Friday. Don't schedule. Here's a tip. Here's a life hack. Don't schedule a test that you have to wait for the results for on a Friday. And you know what? If sometimes you probably have to, and then you have to sit there and you have to wait over the weekend. And then, as the time goes on, you remember that there are other things, you still have to live your life. So that's what I think helped. A couple of things helped during all this time. And one was Jody, having a sensei who went before me, who had all this before me. And then the other thing was just having just constant work, work that I love, I guess, teaching students and stuff.
So how long did it take to find out?
Having a loving husband who says all the right things all the time.
How long did it take to get the results?
I think the mammogram happened at from 7 to 7:30, and then I had this A-bus thing, which is you have to what is it? Ultrasound. From 7:30 to 8, so I really shouldn't be complaining. And then I left about 8:15, and I freaked out for an hour, and I was getting really mad. And then by 10 a.m., they called me right at 10 a.m. to tell me that I was okay. Greetings from Wrexham, Wales, Tim says. Tim, greetings to you too, Tim. Oh my God,
What
Kim.
does he do? Like throw a dart at a map and then...
Yeah. Oh, Kim Jameson, same happened to me 7 years after the first cancer. It hit me harder and emotionally than the first. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah, it's like, and Tim is saying, yeah, thanks. What was I going to say about all this? I'm trying to remember what I was going to say about all this. Yeah, just a fact, like, so my dad, has thyroid cancer now. We just found out my dad's got thyroid cancer.
Well,
Tim
he
is going
had
to
it-
see a soccer match.
Ooh. He had it...
He had it a long time ago, and so just it's just scary when you get a you're going through your life, and somebody passes you in the car and then goes slow in front of you. You're like, fuck you, and you're all stressed out, or like you got to wait for the next thing of Andor to come out, and it's like, oh my God, how long is it? Like, you just have these day to day, like, these are the terrible things that happen to me, and then then all of a sudden a health problem happens, and then it like puts everything into perspective. But and it puts everything into like maybe a different perspective. Like maybe you drive down this, like I was driving down the street today, and I saw this yellow tree, like this giant yellow tree, and I was like, God, that's really beautiful.
Leaves are changing.
Yeah. And Nick is saying, in my head. Yeah. So, anyway, you were like, "What are we going to talk about?" And I was like, "I don't know, but I just had a cup of coffee."
Oh man!
I've been
4:00 cup of coffee.
We've been like intensely working on stuff. Death is beautiful, Tim says.
It's the cycle of life. But yes.
Not to name drop again. All right, I was talking to a famous rock star whose parent was dying, and they were sitting with the parent and just having like a beautiful time with them. And I'm going to think about that, like the next time I'm sitting next to somebody who's dying, I guess. Like I'm going to think about that conversation that I had with this person like, years ago. Like it was really the way so we just also had like an alum come and talk to us. And some of these people are so eloquent. How do you get to be like that?
You spend your life talking.
It didn't work for me.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And also you're the worst critic. Whatever. I'm the worst critic, but like some of these people, like especially our alum here, Zach, right? Like, I can't believe the shit that comes out of this boy's mouth. I mean, I can't. It's just like somebody who can explain everything like so perfectly, Do you have the same feeling about that person? Oh, well, yeah. I mean, but I don't turn it as a reflection on me and say that I'm faulty.
Oh, yeah, I'm not reflecting on myself. No, I'm just, when I see somebody who's masterful at something, I think to myself, wow, I could be like that too. How do I get like that? Like that person is giving me so much joy in their masterfulness. How can I do that for other people? It's just, that's what it's kind of like. Mm-hmm. So here. Let me see. What did this person say that I wrote? I was like starting to write quotes down from this person, from Zach Buckley, everybody, not a sponsor. But he was like talking to our students, and he goes, networking. He's like, yeah, networking, you got to network. What did he say? Networking is just
making friends.
It's just making friends. I was just like, that's how somebody can be eloquent and explain exactly, like, it's not like reading books, right? Is it reading books? Because I'll do that if that's what it takes to be able to explain things like this.
Well, they're different. I mean, if it comes naturally to you, you don't have to do anything. If it doesn't, then you have to practice. And then if it can come naturally after unintentional practice, right? You can do intentional practice or unintentional practice. So you've spent a lot of time explaining concepts in front of classes. So maybe if you feel like you're not able to do that, maybe you should reflect on how in environments where you are able to do that and translate that energy and mindset into other arenas.
I don't know if it's vocabulary, or I don't know what it takes. Like it doesn't seem like it takes vocabulary. Like, although there were words, like Zach uses words that like I don't use also. I'm like, oh man, he said that word. It was like, that's a great word. And like every time he was talking in front of our boss, and I was like, is she as impressed as I am? Like, does she think he's awesome too? And so I had to go up to her afterwards. I was like, do you think he's awesome? She's like, oh my God, yeah, he's awesome. So I enjoyed that whole visit.
Yeah, it was great.
Hello, Joe Chrisman. So, okay, what do you have to talk about?
All I've got to talk about is the mother country, but there's
Germany?
not much to talk about.
Oh no, that's
England.
the fatherland. I'm sorry. My sister just texted me a picture of her standing very close to Simon Le Bon.
Like what kind of close? Like dangerously close?
Dangerously close. Yeah.
But she was going to like some kind of living room concert, right? With Simon Le Bon? Was that true? I seem to remember some kind of. So it's her just standing next to Simon Le Bon.
Yeah. How can I get her on the phone?
I don't know, but it's not going to be. It will not be easy to able to hear.
Yeah, she was at a living room concert. I'd love to know how expensive that was.
Yeah. So who was talking about that? Like rich people concerts, like musicians.
Matt Talbot does that.
No, I'm not talking about
rich people concert.
I'm not talking about living room tours. I'm
okay.
talking about rich people concerts where you do play at someone's house, but you get paid $1 million as opposed to. You get paid to play in your fans' living rooms, and you get a couple $100 maybe, right? I'm talking about like when someone who is a superstar plays at someone's house. I'm trying to remember who was talking about that.
Is there like a movie like that where like somebody's, or was it a Brooklyn Nine-Nine or something?
Well, there's that episode of Atlanta that was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
again, I feel like I talked about that last time, but
just talk about it again. I don't remember. Sarah's in a really loud bar now. I don't know what kind of this like
with Simon Le Bon. That's what I need to know.
Right,
we need to know.
Are you with Simon?
Because so what's interesting about your sister is I remember she saw Simon Le Bon right at
Ed DeBevick's
in the
I was there with her
1980s. You were there too?
Yes.
Wow. So what about that? Why don't we talk about that?
Okay,
celebrity sightings,
like celebrity sightings. Yeah.
Or maybe it's
that's the one. Oh, I didn't know you had a third sound. That's cool. So celebrity sightings. So we were in Ed DeBevick's, which is like an upscale diner, like fake diner.
And I just have to say, did I mention this? I remember reading a recent interview with Bob Odenkirk, who was talking about working at a restaurant where part of the shtick was the servers were supposed to be rude.
Yes, that was the one.
What Bob Odenkirk said is that even though that was the thing when he did that shtick, he felt like he was hurting people's feelings. Like they never felt like he was doing it and he was doing the routine.
Yeah.
And it was all part of the ambiance of the restaurant. But when he did it, he always felt like he actually hurt people as opposed to them. Like, so usually you get this waitress. I was taken
aback at first.
Yeah, you'd be taken aback, but it was like you'd realize, oh, it's part of the thing.
Shtick,
and it's like a feisty waiter or waitress, kind of thing. And it's funny, haha. But he said that he always felt like he was actually.
Wait, who is Bob Odenkirk? I forgot.
A comedian and was on Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad. But
okay.
He was. So, anyways, Ed DeBevick's. Continue. I just thought that was funny.
So why Simon Le Bon was in an Ed DeBevick's in fucking Deerfield, Illinois? It was.
There's an episode of the most recent episode of Atlanta. There's a moment where it's like the woman's like, "You're famous, aren't you?" And it's like, "How do you know?" And it's like, you're wearing a baseball cap, but it doesn't have a logo on it, and that's what all the famous people do. And then she points and says, "That's Chris Evans over there," and it's just some white dude with a baseball cap on without a logo. But
baseball cap without a logo.
Yeah, and so that idea. Maybe it wasn't Simon Le Bon. Anyways,
no, he had an English accent. I think we went up and talked to him. What like? Do you ever get
you
like
think
an
so? You don't remember this. You don't remember.
No, I don't remember.
You possibly walked up in the mid 1980s up to a person's table at Ed DeBevick's and talked to them, and it was Simon Le Bon. You were pretty sure it was Simon Le Bon, but you don't really remember. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember. I'm not like like Sarah, my sister. She's kind of like into this, like meeting famous people. Right? Mm-hmm. There's a picture of her with who's the guy? My hair. That guy.
Oh, George Clooney.
Right? She's got a picture with George Clooney. She's she lives in England, so like anytime these people go to the BAFTA,
it's easier to meet famous people. Yeah,
it is
there's
because
less competition to get through the.
Yeah.
The
she lives
security.
in the motherland. You want to talk about the motherland? Like,
no,
so we
can
go from
about
Simon Le Bon. Okay.
So that's pretty
what
amazing.
Other? Okay, my first celebrity sighting was, what was the woman from the Gong Show?
J.P. Morgan.
Morgan, yes, yeah. And that was at how I ended up at the. I'm trying not to swear now. At the Playboy Club in like Milwaukee, Wisconsin, because
not
I was
Chicago.
No, not Chicago.
Wow.
With my friend's family or something like. I think she got me to go along with her or something like that. So
it was a comedy show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So they did. Yeah, they had.
And we went to her room afterwards and got her signature.
J.P. Morgan's.
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
I think it was her.
That's.
I don't remember.
That's who she said she was.
Yeah.
That's one of those celebrities where you could probably say you were J.P. Morgan, and although during
like
the Gong Show era, she was a regular.
You're okay. How about Hey, we had Alex Borstein on our show. I think.
Yeah.
We had her on. We could do it again too.
That's true.
Because I grew up next to her.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I feel like my first celebrity sighting was more like when I stepped on Mishu, the world's smallest man, before like they had the like Meet the Animals and stuff before the Ringling Brothers Circus, and then I was walking backwards. I think this is probably why I learned never to walk backwards. Stepped backwards, and I stepped on somebody, and it was Mishu, the world's smallest man. Excuse me.
So what size were you compared to Mishu?
I was taller.
Oh, okay.
But he was
a fully developed man, and you were like a kid.
He was, and he was one of the main attractions at the time of at the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. And I've talked about that moment before, is because we also driving there. That was the first time I saw a car fire, and so it would have been the early 1970s. So it was a big old car, and then a guy wearing what's now called a wife beater, just a tank top T-shirt and like chino pants, like watching the car burn. And that's the thing too, is like, it seemed like there used to be a lot more car fires. I feel like I saw a lot of car fires when I was younger, and nowadays it's been a long time since I've seen a car fire.
It's because they're well,
it's safer now.
Maybe you don't drive a lot, or you're driving and so you don't see the car fire. Or
I just think they're safer now.
We had our
buy a gasoline-powered car, everyone. They're safer now. They're the best option.
All right. Tim Bowers writes, "Hi Heidi. How do you know that Heidi's on here?" I didn't. And then writes, "Listen to Providence the other day." And then Joe Christmas says, "Ian Mackay once approached us at the ISU Student Center ballroom before a Fugazi show. He asked us what was a good place to eat. My buddy Tony didn't know who he was and directed to the McDonald's upstairs." Tim Bowers says, "Greatest brush with greatness was walking in New York City before the P-Kids show at CBGB's, and we were passing Tower Records. Kid in Play walked out and went down the sidewalk in front of us." And Heidi says, "Ah."
Oh, I know my celebrity encounter from my earliest celebrity encounter was Morris the Cat. So the LaGrange Pet Parade, and then they had the Morris the Cat, and then I was a kid I went to high school or grade school with His
friends with Morris. the cat?
grandfather, I think, was part of the Breen's Cleaners family or something, which was the local cleaners, and they sponsored the pet parade. And I think, at his house afterwards, poor Morris, the one that was in the posters and the ads at the time,
Okay.
was in a cat carrier at this picnic after the pet parade, just panting away. And then I have a signed photo.
I hate to do this to
Yeah.
you. Because I've heard this story over and over and over again, and now you Simon Le Bon my Ed DeBevics.
No, I'm just
So I'm gonna ask you, how old were you when you saw Morris the cat?
I don't remember.
Like 5 or 6 or 7?
Probably a little older.
Okay.
It was
Did you have doubt? Had Nixon been
yes, it's post
Nixon? Okay,
this would
so
have been Carter era.
Here's my
Morris
question.
the cat.
how do you know that was the real Morris the cat? It could have just been any fucking orange cat.
It could have, but it wasn't.
Yeah, I this is the first time in how many years have we been together? Since 1987, and you've told that story. This is the first time I started thinking maybe that wasn't the real Morris the cat, because you were like, maybe it wasn't J.P. Morgan, maybe it wasn't Ian Mackay. Danny Ingram's here says, my first celebrity sighting was James Baldwin. I was 2.
Whoa!
And he was friends with my parents in the very early 60s.
Holy cow!
Wait,
That's a good one. I can't hear you.
I don't want to tell people I know who that is. Who is it? I know another James Baldwin.
Really?
Yeah, we worked with him.
No. Really? I would have remembered that. Are you sure?
Or some
author,
like
poet.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I'm an idiot.
I just watched a documentary about James Baldwin a while ago.
I feel like I may not be seeing all you. Okay, he's a writer. Thanks, Danny. And thanks, guys. Sorry,
He was
I'm a moron.
Yeah.
I may not be seeing all your guys' comments and stuff because I feel like I'm seeing half of them. So, all right. Any other celebrity sightings?
I'm trying to think of when I was a child, if there were any, but other ones.
Okay, like
because those are the best, right?
Yeah. What about like you're on campus and like you see the provost? Like,
No, that doesn't count.
Well, for me it counts. Like he's wearing a hat and stuff, and so I'm always like, I like go up to him and I say something stupid, like hey, nice hat or something like that. Like I'm always like, hey, where's my, like like our program is applying to be a school instead of just a program that's like a step up and stuff. And he wants us to do that too. Like he's waiting for that to happen. But it's like all this paperwork's got to go through all the different places and stuff. And the paperwork's probably like the one catch is going to be the paperwork going to the Illinois Board of Higher Education and stuff like that. So he has nothing to do with this. So like when I see him, I'm always like, hey, where's my school? How come I'm not a school yet? And then he laughs. It's funny. But so I can always like I can joke around with him because he's really funny. But like the president, I don't get her yet. I like don't know. Like I know she like is a bird watcher because this other girl, like who met her when she first was the president, like at the beginning of the school year, like however many, like it was last year or something like that, right? She like wrote down bird watcher.
Yeah, so some people,
her and her husbands are like bird watchers.
Invest a lot more time and effort into it's like building relationships, networking.
Yeah. So like
goes in the database.
When
base.
All I did was her like didn't I? Yeah, we can talk about Kim Deal. But our president, our lady president, first lady president, 20th president of Illinois State University, like she's an engineer too, right? Or is she an engineer? She's a scientist.
Bio.
Yeah, she's bio something.
I can't remember.
But she, what was I going to say? Yeah, I don't know. Like, I can't like go up and like grab her ass or anything like that. Like, I don't like, hey, how's it going, lady scientist? I'm a lady scientist too. Like, I don't know, like.
You're sounding a little too close to a very soon to be canceled old white man.
Hey,
I can't picture on the ass. I can't say, hey, lady scientist. She's just turning into a old white man.
70-year-old white man with a beard. No, I don't know what to say to her. I said something stupid. Like she doesn't get my sense of humor. I don't think. I'm trying.
Strange.
Yeah.
Why would that be?
Like, what did I say to her? I was like, do you know who I am? I said that to her. I thought that was funny. And she was like, yeah, but, I'm like, no, I'm just kidding. Why? Yeah, remind me. Yeah, she doesn't have that sense of humor, I don't think.
Well, the thing is if your job is,
To be the president.
50% of your job is to know over 300 or 400 or 500 people.
That's right. She recognized you from when you met her, like 11, whatever.
Well, no, that was in a Zoom interview.
That's crazy.
And so if you're doing, here's a tip.
Yeah.
If you're doing a Zoom interview and you know who's going to be on your search committee or whatever, you do your homework, right?
Yeah.
You find out who all those people
That's
are
true.
and you Google them. Don't go into something like that blind. So
Anyway,
that was just preparation.
And I saw her at like an event too. Like I was at a some event and she was there. It was like her event. And I was like, at this point now, like I saw the provost and I was like, hey, how's it going, homie? Like just, like palling around with him. And I talked to her like, cause we have that rapport, but I think he thinks I'm hysterical. And he's happy about our program and stuff. But I saw her and I was like, I'm not even going to go up and talk to her because I'm too weird. Like I'm too weird for her. And she came up and talked to me afterwards. She was like, hey, how is it going? Look at that nice celery you have on your plate.
There's the weird girl.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll go talk to her.
Yeah. What am I going to say to the weird girl?
I'll
just
something.
Say hi. I better say something to her.
That crazy person with the strange sense of humor.
I don't have a good grip on, like, I know what you are in the college now, in the university. You're like the morally upstanding, friendly, brilliant white man, right? That's what you are. Like, he's an artist, but he's really smart. And also he's safe. Like, I can talk to him. But and that's who you are just generally. Like, that's why you go to you get called to, what is that called when you have to go to the court? You have to sit there. What is that called? Court
jury duty.
Jury duty. Rick gets called to jury duty, and ends up being the foreman of the jury.
That happened once.
Yeah. How many times in your life is that going to happen? How many times were you called to jury duty? Once?
Yeah, because the other times I don't get picked because I won't.
Yes, he's very tenured.
I don't.
Tim. You don't swear on the Bible.
Swear on the Bible.
Do you really do that?
I do. They ask. They say.
Because I do that too, and then they're like, you know what, Missy, you can just go home.
Does anyone not want to be sworn in with the Bible?
Yeah,
and
you
I'm
raise
one
your
of those
hand.
people, and then in the pool, I don't get picked.
I don't believe you.
I did.
Really? Did you? Okay. All right.
I mean, and there are a couple other
that wasn't
people,
the time that you became the foreman, though.
No,
You
I don't
swore
think that
on
was
the
a
Bible.
question. Actually, the other time that was in Champaign. I don't remember that being asked.
Yeah. Well,
it was
anyway,
interesting. I don't know. Maybe it's different areas have different procedures.
Maybe I should straighten my hair.
Don't change yourself. Just be yourself.
No,
Well,
I don't.
don't be-
No. That's no. You can't. I can't be myself, or I'll be grabbing people's asses. I'm
Right,
kidding. I would never
exactly.
grab an ass. Rick is safe, but is he tenured? Not only is he tenured, he is, what is it called? You're a full professor.
But
This is my sister. Okay.
it's not safe.
All right. Here, let's see. Here. All right. Tell us about meeting Simon Laban.
Ugh, it's gonna
Okay, so I got to meet Simon Laban and Yasmin Laban tonight. They did a little private show at a local club that they're going to become members of. And I told him the story about how I met him in 1987 in Chicago after the concert. And he said, oh, the Strange Behavior Tour. And he remembered. And I told him about the restaurant. And he went, Ed DeBevick's.
Ed DeBevick's. So crazy.
It's true. It was him. You see?
I don't know if anyone can actually hear what Sarah's saying, but yeah.
Tim Bowers is saying that he can hear.
Okay, and then, but the best thing was that so we talked for like 10 minutes.
Wait, get closer to your microphone.
We talked for like 10 minutes. We talked about everything. And then when he did the show, so it was like he sang a few songs and then he did a question and answer.
No, you're breaking up now. Why are you breaking up?
because she's calling
hear me
from
now?
London,
Yes.
England.
No, her phone does this all the time. Okay.
Yeah. So then when he was doing the actual show, somebody asked him, it was like a question and answer. And they said, has your audience changed over the years? And he said, well, I met Sarah here in 1987 and she hasn't changed at all.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's so cool.
And all my friends were there. So they were like, oh my
That's great. This is
God.
great.
Amazing.
No,
I'm
I
going,
hate to tell you this, but he's ugly.
All right. I'm going to hang up. Bye.
Just for the audience, there was a little random moment where you might have heard an older woman say, "I hate to say this, but what did she say?
He's ugly."
He's ugly," which is Rose's mom was on the call. The Rose and Sarah's mother, just putting in
Oh
a
my
little
God, what did
little
I just
input
do?
about Simon Le Bon. Not her generation's idea of handsome.
Well, you know who she. All right, wait a minute. Tina Nixon says I was on the Bozo show at 5 years old. Got chosen to play a game, sit on and pop the balloon. Mr. Houdini popped mine with a pin, and I called him out on the air.
Oh,
wow,
man.
Tina.
I'm never
Excellent.
performing with kids again. So you got probably like a ticket like when you were born. So this is what would happen in Chicago at least is that when a child was born, then the family would request tickets to the Bozo show, and then by the time the child was 5 or 6, they would the line. It would take like 5 or 6 years to get tickets to the Bozo show.
Yeah,
And so if you got it, when
we
you-
always talk about this.
do we? Oh, I didn't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like you had to put your name in, when you were born in
Right.
order to get on the show at a reasonable
10
age.
years.
Yeah. it
And then
was
when you
amazing.
get there, then you realize, all I see are the actors' backs. It's probably
So you
different
went to
now.
the Bozo show too.
I did, yeah,
Yeah, I
because
never went to that.
wow, a Bozo little icon just came up. I think somebody
Somebody just got
hit
the
a
Bozo
icon. It was an
emoji.
emoji. One of my dad's patients, I think maybe had tickets and his kid was sick or something. I don't even know. So they couldn't go that one day. So
Yeah.
so my dad got tickets. That's what I don't remember. It's a crapshoot whether or not my parents will remember. Like they'll be like, oh yeah, I remember, blah 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 blah, and then they won't remember my name. So
Bozo? What?
Dannon says, my quirkiest celebrity sighting was Ted Raimi. We were filling
I
up
know
our
who that
tank to drive back to Phoenix after seeing a concert in L.A. when he pulled up to get gas too. I asked, "Are you Ted Raimi?" And he said, "Yeah, how did you know?" I had serendipitously changed out of my sweaty shirt from the concert into an Evil Dead 2 t-shirt, which I pointed to, and he laughed and then took a picture with me. Oh, that's nice.
Ted Raimi was in Xena Warrior Princess.
Yeah, that's cool. Oh yeah, I just hung up on my sister
That's
and my
you
mom.
don't. That was a good, nice little moment.
Yeah,
we don't
yeah,
want to
yeah,
try to
yeah,
cell phone our way through the rest of the show.
yeah.
And by we, I mean my ears.
Oh yeah, it was hurting your ears.
No, it was good. It was actually not bad.
Okay.
So, yeah, Simon Le Bon has been spotted in England, of all places, London.
Joe Christmas says, we met Tiny Tim outside Mother Murphy's in the early 90s.
Oh, man.
Hey, we had what's his name?
I'm not even going to tell you because this is something you mention like every,
Yeah, okay.
like
Never mind. We won't go in.
monthly.
So the Kim Deal thing, we were on tour with the Breeders. She was sweet, so sweet. Her and her sister were so nice. My God. Okay, and we talk about that all the time too.
So I watched the thing about the guy. Who's the British guy who does the angry newscaster kind of thing? Like he's usually standing in front of Parliament and then
Like
goes
I
on a
know
rant.
anybody who you're talking about.
I've shown you his videos before, but he did a rant about Liz Truss,
Oh yeah, I have seen him.
the former prime minister. Or well, no, she still is as of right now.
Oh, I thought she
But
stepped
it was
down.
she did, but she's still prime minister until she stepped down as leader of the Conservative Party, and so she's still prime minister until they decide on who's the new leader
That's
of the
right.
conservative.
And it could be a while, right? Isn't that what I heard?
No,
Oh,
they're
okay.
gonna
They're
gonna ram it
get-
through. So
Okay.
by a while, it could be Monday or a few days after that if they have to do a runoff vote. But that's super fast because
Wow.
it took a while to decide her to replace Boris
And this
Johnson.
was just she was doing some Trumpian stuff, right?
Yeah, it's just that austerity shit. Although it's just some other. It's more like the new tax cuts for rich people and austerity bullshit, right? Or whatever she tried to do. And so now probably they're going to go back to some crazy ass austerity thing, basically cutting things to the bone again. Whoever comes through next.
Does it bringing it back closer to home? Does it look like we don't have to worry about Pritzker getting back in again?
Yeah,
right?
you don't have to worry. Don't even bother voting.
I said to my student, you should see the faces. I was like, hey guys, so, election day, we don't have class. So, because they made that into a holiday, so we don't have class. And the students were like, oh, really? That's awesome. And I was like,
So I don't have an excuse to not vote.
yeah. So I was like, so, you could vote. And I looked and they were all like,
Crickets.
they were like bored. They were like, fuck that. We're not going to vote. It doesn't, and then I did this whole, did I talk about this on Radio Zero? Then I was like, inside, I was like madder than I've ever been in my life. I was like, God damn it, you motherfuckers, and I love my students, but like, if they're like, oh man, I was like, what do I say to them, to get them? I was like, yeah, you guys shouldn't vote anyway. Like the old men, I want to say old white men will take care of it for you. But I decided not to say old white men. I just said old men, and then I pretended I had a cane and I was like, these damn kids, I was like, I'm going to vote, make sure that I make all the rules, and I saw them like looking at me like they were like, what's going on? Why is she saying that?
But
there's like
about this stuff.
There's a number you can call. There's for at ISU where they'll dispatch the civic engagement voting crew and they'll explain.
Yeah, and so we just did our ethics training, and there was a question, at least in my ethics training, about that. And so, there's nothing you can have people come into class like from the civic engagement part of the school and come in and tell students how to vote.
No,
not how to vote, but like
how to vote,
how to go,
how to vote,
register, and cast a vote.
How to mechanically do how to go through.
If you start talking about candidates and everything like that, that's a problem. But yeah, there's nothing against educating people on how to participate in our democracy. And so this is going to be the thing, is that the new sort of move is not to just have poll watchers, but have poll judges that and. In fact, I found out that the Republican National Committee was banned since the 80s from training people on how to be poll judges because they were encouraging people to do things that they're not allowed to do as poll judges, right? So they're actually banned from like the Republican National Committee.
Wow.
Banned from providing training, and
that
education.
Doesn't sound fair for them.
It doesn't. Well, it sounds fair because what happened was they were telling people to be to do things that they're not allowed to do as poll judges, right? So poll judges. So that's the thing, is if you talk to poll judges, they're not supposed to talk about their political affiliations. They're not supposed to talk about anything, and they shouldn't.
But when you go to vote and they challenge your signature,
So that's the question. So if you're not, so this is what would happen to us in Champaign, is that a lot of the poll judges, at least when we were younger, we would go and they were all older people, and so there's been studies that show that in certain places, the people who are the signatures of younger people and people of color will be challenged so much more often than old white people, basically because
you never know how them people are going to vote.
Yeah, the assumption is,
and so
do know
how
so
they're
poll
gonna vote.
judges in some ways can skew things through that challenge process, but. Although I do believe you're supposed to, now that's not I'm not sure now that what I just said is like you're supposed to have a balanced, right? you have multiple
Yeah.
judges.
That's what. Well, Dairy King was a poll judge. Our
Or
child
poll
Dairy
worker.
King poll worker.
So there's
Well-
workers and judges, right?
Well, he wasn't a judge. I think
I
it's the
can't
same
remember.
thing.
Is it the same thing? It might
Yeah.
be. Yeah.
They I don't know.
Anyways,
if he's a he or they.
yeah. So it's yeah. And so there are things like that happen too, where it's like, oh, like if it's let's just say it's a Republican sort of
Let's say for the sake of the
Secretary
argument.
what are they called? Not Secretary of States. Who's in charge of that? The election. Yeah, like the election person. Let's just call them. I can't
commission,
remember.
election
Yeah,
person,
yeah.
election king.
And so the thing is like, so this has happened where it's underserving and not having as well sort of manned or as many polling places in poorer regions with a larger minority population or college campuses, right? So like one of the things you might do is you might only provide one polling station for a whole college campus,
which
and
is
then
what they
so-
did last time.
So then there are, lines for 3 or 4 hours with students trying to register and then vote, and it's a problem, right? Whereas if you live, like where we live, out in the neighborhood, you could walk over there anytime, and you might have 1 or 2 people in line, right?
Yeah. If
Yeah.
you're lucky. Heidi Orr says Mercy Rules drummer Ron Albertsons spotted Stephen King at a gas station in Wyoming and shook his hand. We were all there, but too scared to speak.
Yeah, that's my problem. Is like famous people. I don't. I just. I don't.
He gets giggly.
I
You
get I get
giggly.
weird. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I don't necessarily want to talk to them, or I can't think of. I
What
always
to
think
say
of
to
things
them.
to say years later.
Yeah.
But you're talking about your childhood friend, Alex, and then going to we went to some kind of Family Guy performance, and then we got to go backstage, and there were some really famous people there. But for me, I got super excited to meet Tim Kazurinsky,
Oh,
who
yeah.
was on Saturday Night Live and was in Neighbors. Yeah, he was in Neighbors, right? And so I felt comfortable enough to talk to him.
Well, who? All right,
And
the guy.
he had gone to U of I too, so
Oh, yeah,
we could
he
talk
had
about
something.
that. And
Yeah.
so it was like, oh, okay, this is a person, that I feel like I can talk to because they're not just famous. It's like, oh, they're
You have a connection with them,
Yeah,
just like you
somehow.
and David Hasselhoff. What? Okay, what about dude who was at ISU at the graduation? That dude, the guy who was that guy, the famous guy? Because we've got famous people who went to the school of theater here, the School of Theater and Dance.
well, there've
Remember
been a
him?
couple of them.
Yeah, but the dude who was on Veep, I think.
Yeah. Gary Cole.
Yeah, Gary
Yeah.
Cole. We met him, talked to him for a little while.
He's a great guy. Yeah, and so that's the thing is like if you're in so the thing is like he's in a room with a bunch of faculty people, and it's not famous people. It's not a party. It's just kind of like before or after the commencement ceremony, and it's like you can just go up and talk to him, and
How do you like your brownie? They're really good, aren't they? Yeah, I got the kind without the sugar.
Yeah, I prefer that kind of interaction.
Joe Christmas says I met Dick Durbin at Espresso Royale last week.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
right,
You
what-
didn't get to see Barack Obama. I remember seeing Barack Obama at the Champaign transportation station or whatever it was when he was still
Why didn't
a
I
senator.
get to see him?
I think it was during the day. You were working or something.
Oh man. Yeah, maybe. Do you remember though? I remember that you and I saw like a couple standing on the quad, and I could swear I'm sure it was them. I'm sure it was Barack and his wife,
His
whose name I
wife.
can't remember now. His lady friend. All
Who
right,
knows?
maybe not. Oh shoot, I forgot what I was gonna say. Who would you like to meet? What celebrity would you like to meet, Rick?
I hate these things. I hate these kind of questions.
Yeah, I don't. Nobody's ever
that,
asked
I mean that's
me that.
the thing is like I'm not necessarily adept at interpersonal communication, especially with people I don't know, and so or with people I know. Let's be
Yeah, I was
frank.
gonna say yeah.
Let's be
Yeah.
frank, Rick. It's just
be
a
Rick
general.
frank.
Let's just general. So to me, it would even thinking about this would be anxiety inducing because I would like to meet some important
Joe
people.
Christman saying, "I've met you guys. He's such a nice guy."
Yeah,
Joe,
exactly. Thank you.
You're
But it's
a
like
goof.
it's like it's for me it just spirals into what stupid thing would you say to Stephen King, for instance, right? It's like, if I saw Stephen King, I probably wouldn't talk to him because I don't think I would be able to say something.
Don't you know who I
coherent
am? Would you say that? Yeah.
Give me a famous person, and then
I'm
I'll try
trying to think.
Let's try to think of what we would say to a famous person if we met them. Like this to me would be so that's why it's high pressure. I feel like is because I would feel like I would have to say something unique, not the same stupid thing.
Okay, for the people who are listening, give us the name of a famous person, and we'll say what we would say to them.
So I
remember.
remember I've read some stuff. I read stuff about Bob Dylan all the time, but it's like talking there was a whole thing about his sound crew, right? And how it was like, I was on the tour for a year and a half, and he didn't talk to me. Never talked to me. And then one day he walked up to me and started talking to me. and he said, what did the one guy say? It all boils down to food and kids. That's life. That's
cool.
And the guy was like, what the hell? And then he was like 20 years later.
Living or dead? No, it has to be living.
Yeah. He was right.
Right.
Bob Dylan was really right. But at the time I had no idea why he was even talking to me.
He's prescient. Well, maybe he thought he was somebody else. Heidi, probably thought he was somebody else. Heidi says, Ron said to Stephen King, "Hey man, I love your books." See, that's totally what a drummer would. It's a drummer, right?
Yeah. It's like drummers. To me, I would overthink it.
Yeah.
I'd be man. I gotta come up with something. And actually, I just heard the guy. Well, it's the guy who does XKCD comic, but he was talking about science questions, right? Like strange science conundrums and he said, like, children always ask much better and simple questions, whereas adults are always trying to create some kind of tricky situation. And he gave a great example, which was like a kid will say, what if I wanted to build a building that's 1 billion stories tall? And then he said, that sounds really simple, but then when you start working it out, it becomes fascinating, right? It's like, how big what's the physics of all this? What happens when you have a building that crosses from out of the atmosphere into space, and he just said, that's an amazing thing. And then adults are always like, what if
they're trying to show off how smart they are?
On a train going the speed of light, and then you set off a nuclear bomb. It's like they try to be clever, and you wind up with a really stupid kind of thing. And that's that. I think I would fall into that.
Think about the assholes though who would be asking science questions. They would be trying to prove themselves and stuff.
But it's But yeah,
I'm still trying to think. Okay, so I'm thinking about.
I don't like talking to famous people. It's upsetting.
You know who I think is really pretty? I wouldn't want to meet her, but who I think is really the woman from not Elizabeth Moss, the other woman from The Handmaid's Tale. Holy shit, man! This woman is gorgeous. She drop dead gorgeous.
The Russian woman, woman with the Russian name.
The
one who was in.
I don't know
Chuck.
what else she was in. I will
Chuck.
watch her in
she
another
was in
thing.
Chuck. You won't like Chuck.
No, I wouldn't. That sounds like something I would not like. But okay, who?
Chuck has the guy.
She's the Handmaid's Tale. She's the other. She's the.
I'm assuming if I haven't watched it since season 1, so it could be a completely different character. But the only other woman that was in the Handmaid's Tale. Oh, and then there's the woman who was in.
Oh yeah, she does have a weird name. Not weird. Sorry.
Not weird. Foreign. She has a foreign name.
God damn it. Yvonne Strahovski. Oh, wow. She's an Australian actress. She's putting on a regular,
a normal person.
Fuck
she
me.
doesn't have a foreign
Fuck
accent
you.
in the show.
Fuck you. Was Elizabeth Moss was she a, what is that called? Like she was a,
She was on Mad Men.
But was she the heroine model?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, that's a different one. Oh, Joe Christman said, yeah, okay, and Dan already wrote Yvonne Strahovski. She is so beautiful. Now my sister is trying to, I'm not going to
We're almost done.
And then Joe Christman says he'd like to meet Jon Stewart. He's probably an asshole, though. He'd probably be an asshole to you. Do you think? because
I
I
think it's
love him.
possible.
I love him, but he might be an asshole. I don't know. Like it would depend. Like I don't. Yeah, I wonder if he's nice to other people, or like he just doesn't want to be bothered because that's why he's not doing
That's
his
the
show.
thing too. Is like, it's got to be a pain in the ass
For people.
having people randomly walking up to you.
Oh my God, I loved you and whatever, and then
No, I
say
know
the
it
wrong
is.
thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
Iggy Pop. What would you say to Iggy Pop? Kim Jameson is asking. I think.
is
Or
it
she met him.
true? Is it true that your parents gave you the master bedroom in the trailer to play drums? That's because Iggy Pop's parents were teachers also.
Oh.
And from what I heard is that in their double wide, so they lived in a trailer home, and so typically in those you'd have like kind of one big bedroom, and then maybe he had another. I don't know how.
I actually
how it
know
works,
this too.
but they let him have the master bedroom, and he set up his drums in there, which to me I that's something I want to know because that to me seems like extremely supportive parenting.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. And
beyond-
supportive parents are great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like that's super supportive. That's like maybe too supportive.
No, I think that's great. And look at him now. So Joe Chrisman said like he'd like to meet Jon Stewart, and I said he'd probably be an asshole to him. Joe Chrisman, how would you not allow him to be an asshole to you? He said Joe Chrisman says I wouldn't allow him to be mean to me. How would you stop him from being mean to you? You have, like 4 minutes to
And
answer
there's a
that question.
delay.
And Chris Walker says Randy Quaid. Now I'm assuming that he's. What would
Yeah,
you say to
he's-
Randy Quaid?
Well, what I say, I mean, I would try not to talk about the current Randy Quaid. I guess I'd be interested in he's in What's Up Doc. Randy Quaid's in What's Up Doc. He's just
Oh,
one of
that's
the
right.
people in the
Man,
background.
that
He's
make
in
him
the
very
last
old.
picture show,
Yeah.
right? Is he in the last? No. Is
Well-
Randy Quaid? What is he in? Oh, he's in frickin' The Last Detail. I mean that. And so, if you've never seen The Last Detail, Randy Quaid is amazing in that. And then who's in? Gilda Radner is in it, just in a group of people who are in a meditation kind of. I have to watch it again just because of that. But like she's just sitting meditating, part of a yoga group or something that he kind of wanders into. Randy Quaid does. So before Saturday Night Live.
I want to meet that guy who died in Andor on the Eye episode. The guy with the blue eyes. Well, half of them have blue eyes, but the guy, he's like a poet guy. He was like the guy who wrote. But I just,
the guy who's in The Bear.
not
actor?
that guy.
Oh,
No,
not
no, the other,
oh.
the younger one. No, I kind of like that guy too. I really like. So Joe Chrisman says that he would stop Jon Stewart from and I'm offended by this. He would stop Jon Stewart from being an asshole to him the same way. This is what Joe Chrisman said. The same way you guys aren't assholes to me. I just approach and be warm. So you think we're assholes to other people? First of all. Second of all, okay. It's
possible.
Joe Chrisman says he's lovable. Yeah, you are lovable. But that won't stop Jon Stewart from being an asshole to you.
And I'm trying to
Pablo
remember who
Picasso.
told the story about being at a dinner party with another famous person, but not as famous as Paul McCartney, right? And they're at a dinner sitting next to Paul McCartney, and then they said to Paul McCartney, "Is it okay if I take a picture with you?" And Paul McCartney said, "Well, you're going to have to decide if you're a friend or a fan."
Oh.
Yeah. It was just like, wow. That really put the zap on me where it was just like, ugh. Yeah, I don't want to be involved in that world.
Now Joe is making me feel bad. He says, "Oh, I'm clueless too. You're lovable and clueless." It's not my unfaith in you, Joe. I love you. You are amazing. It's my not having faith in Jon Stewart because I like him a lot. I love him, but I worry that he would be an asshole.
So
That's all.
I think the problem is so comedy,
Yeah,
stand-up
yeah,
comedy,
Yeah.
I think is difficult because it is you are a person who is constantly questioning everything, right? And it's you alone, and so it's very, very difficult, I think, even if you're not famous, to be
Nice.
a
to be
comedian. Yes,
a nice comedian.
or it's difficult to. Yeah, I think it is. I think that to be able to do that, you kind of have to be so cynical in a way, or so critical, let's say, that it's you potentially can come off as a jerk.
Okay, but
Right? Because it's kind of like,
yeah.
it's first off, because you may say the thing that other famous people don't say, which is like, hey, I'm a fucking human being. Leave me alone. I'm eating dinner with my family.
At
right?
Ed DeBevick's.
At Ed DeBevick's.
Okay,
Please-
so wait a minute.
please
Wait,
piss off.
think about Joe Chrisman now. Actually, think about him. If
Oh, yeah.
anybody
This is not-
could get Jon Stewart to be nice to them, it probably would be Joe Chrisman. Actually,
I think this is
Yeah.
why I don't like these exercises.
Okay.
This is a
Yeah.
unfair personal analysis of two individuals, one of whom
we know, and the other one we don't.
we absolutely do not know and have never had any
Yeah, he may not be
direct
an asshole.
interaction. Although,
What?
actually, so a guy who worked on a couple of our records, his wife was on the staff of the Jon Stewart show, and I am trying to
So
remember.
we have we have
So
a
the show before
yeah.
the Daily Show, the MTV show, and I'm trying to remember if I ever got any information, but I don't think I did.
Dannon says, I used to deliver pizza and would trade pizzas for promo CDs with a DJ friend. One day he was interviewing Iggy Pop. So I asked if Iggy wanted a pizza, and I ended up delivering a pizza to Iggy at the station. This was in the early 90s, and I have no idea what I said to him.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Wow, man, we burned almost a whole episode just talking about famous people that we haven't met.
haven't met. Yeah.
I think we're done.
Wait, there's nothing else?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so.
All right. Yeah, we should quit while we're ahead, I guess.
I didn't
bet
take
Sarah
so
just
I tried to
joined.
take
Hi,
notes.
Sarah.
I try to take notes during the weeks in between for topics to talk about, because there's always stuff like, why didn't I not talk about that? And I didn't do that this weekend. So
What
I
did
gotta
you
get
do
back.
instead? You're so much work.
Overworked and panicked.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
Well,
Not that you're in any different of a situation.
no, I am. You're doing a lot more service than I am.
I don't know if that's true.
Your class is probably graded.